these kinds of crimes are crimes of compulsion. You get into a habit, you get into a routine, you know, and what I've seen, you know, over the years in criminal law, when people dip their toe in the water of depravity, what happens is that's no longer a turn on. I gotta ratchet it up a little bit more.
And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI.
So just because he's charged with what he's charged with now doesn't mean that that can't change. There's a thing called a superseding indictment. I have no doubt that you're going to see a superseding indictment coming down the pike. Wrestle over frosted flakes with a 10-year-old and baby oil.
Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
That was stupid. I mean, so here's the thing. If he's got evidence, like video evidence of sexual abuse of a minor, if he has that in his possession, he's in possession of child pornography, and there is no exception. It's a long list already, but because of the nature of this case, we are going to make sure, damn sure, that we are right before we do that. I would suggest you do that. Here's the issue with somebody like Combs. No question he's the diddler, right? There's no question he's the diddler. There's no question he's a freak. Who the f*** has 1,000 bottles of baby oil? 1,000 bottles. And to just give you a clue as to how ridiculous that is.
What's the problem?
Please don't make me do that.
This is the opportunity that you've been waiting for. You hold all the power in your ass. Yes, that's what we do.
That's why you need baby oil, evidently. What is the next phase for Diddy? Well, he's going to appeal his detention order, but that's not going to go anywhere. This is too big a case. There's too much shit going on, and he is just too out there to have a judge let him go free. Daddy, I like it when you're scrambling and scraping for shit, Daddy. Oh, that's just so f***ing creepy.
That was you.
Hey, man.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. I am here today with our content genius. The person you know is Michael Rivers, who's behind the camera, in front of the camera, behind every idea, in front of the microphone. Say hello, Michael.
Hello.
And where do you get merch?
Actually, you go to clrbrucerivers.com, and I would like to say thank you for all the recent success, and these hats have been flying off the shelves, and get yourself one. Get yourself one. Spread the message. Spread the message, because
What's the message?
Stop self-snitching. There's too many people posting their crimes online these days.
All right, so there's an update on the Puffy case. Puffy, P. Diddy, P. Diddler, the Diddler who's in the Brooklyn jail, Metro, who's basically his best friend right now is either a cockroach or a rat. You know those cockroaches? Before we get to that, this is brought to you by our loyal sponsor, eForms.com. eForms.com. Let's say you're a multimedia mogul and you're worth $1 billion and you need, but now you know your money's flying off the shelf because you've been sued by 3,000 people. What are you going to do? Well, you got to start watching your pennies. You're going to go to eForms.com and get a power of attorney so your lawyer can act on your behalf outside so he can slip you some food that isn't already half eaten by cockroaches in your cell. So you go to eForms.com. eForms.com is a very effective way to avoid the high cost of a lawyer and protect yourself in and out of court, whether you need a power of attorney, whether you need a bill of sale, if you sell your motorcycle. Actually, I don't recommend that. Motorcycles are amazing. Don't sell your motorcycle. But if you sell your car because you're getting a new hot set of wheels, or what do they call that? Or your whip. You get a hot whip.
Yeah.
If you sell your whip, you need a bill of sale. Whatever you need, go to eForms.com. Okay, now let's get into the Diddy. First of all, before we get into what's going on, what is the next phase for Diddy? Well, he's going to appeal his detention order, but that's not going to go anywhere. This is too big a case. There's too much shit going on, and he is just too out there to have a judge let him go free. There's just no presumption that can be rebutted about a condition or set of conditions that would reassure his appearance or protect the public. Those are the two issues. So that is not going to go well for him, period. End of story. I've seen it 100 times. But in this case especially. And where is he? He's in the I think I said something about Rikers Island in our last video. It's not Rikers Island. It's the Metro Jail in Brooklyn. Now, remember Jeffrey Epstein? He was in the Metro Jail in Manhattan. So different jails, but same set of squalor. I mean, they're not nice places, and whether they have rats or that I can't really speak to. But the news of the day, well, before we get to the news of the day, the next step is for him to appeal his detention order, which will go nowhere. And then he'll have to challenge the search warrants. I guarantee you his lawyers are going to have a hearing after hearing after hearing challenging the search warrants. Now, this isn't going to go like Donald Trump's hearing. I don't know how Donald Trump has been able to do this. His lawyers, he's got pretty good lawyers. They don't get what they want from the district court. They go right to the Supremes. You're not going to get that here. You're not going to get an appeal to the Court of Appeals from a district court ruling on a pre-trial motion. You're not going to get any of that. That only comes after you go to trial, after you lose, and that becomes an issue for appeal.
But okay. I was thinking I had to go to circuit, district circuit, and then Supremes.
Right.
But yeah.
But not till after your trial, so you don't get interlocutory appeals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So what they call that is an interlocutory appeal. So, and you generally don't get that right as a defendant. There's certain circumstances in which you do. Don't go by Donald Trump because Donald Trump is an anomaly. He was a former president, so he's getting special treatment. So they'll have motion hearings, and then, after that, then they set it up for, trial management conference kind of thing, and then trial. And it'll be a while. Now, here's the thing. So, according to NBC News, at a news conference held Tuesday by Texas-based attorney Tony Busby, said he's representing 120 accusers with allegations against the entertainment mogul that occurred over 20 years. And we're going to watch his news conference here in a second. But if you look at, here's the issue with somebody like Combs. No question he's the diddler, right? There's no question he's the diddler. There's no question he's a freak. Who the fuck has 1,000 bottles of baby oil? 1,000 bottles. And to just give you a clue as to how ridiculous that is.
What's the problem?
Please don't make me do that.
This is the opportunity that you've been waiting for. You are now in the power position. You hold all the power in your ass. Yes, that's what we do. It's only a little bit in your ass. Nobody's gonna die. You know what you signed up for.
That's why you need 1,000 bottles of baby oil, because that's the power of the ass, right? Well, here's the issue that I have, honestly, with all of these. When you have somebody like Diddy, and all of a sudden something like this happened, guess who wants to come and say that I was there, I was here, I was there, my face was down and my ass was in the air, and yeah, you can't believe everybody that comes through the door. They have to have something to back up what they're saying. Remember when Prince died? How many people came out and said they were his love child? It's kind of the same thing. So, according to Mr. Busby, we will expose the enablers who enabled the conduct behind the closed doors. We will pursue the matter no matter what the evidence. Sounds kind of like he's a preacher, doesn't he? No matter what the evidence, Busby said during a news conference. Many powerful people, many dirty secrets, the lawyer said of the allegations. He added that his team has collected pictures, videos, and texts. Busby added that the allegations will include violent sexual assault, facilitated sex with controlled substances, dissemination of video recordings, sexual abuse of minors. I'm going to get to that last part in a second. It's a long list already, but because of the nature of this case, we are going to make sure, damn sure, that we are right before we do that. I would suggest you do that. Busby continued. These names will shock you. So here's the thing. If he's got evidence, like video evidence of sexual abuse of a minor, if he has that in his possession, he's in possession of child pornography. And there is no exception. You know, when a lawyer gets a child pornography case, which my colleagues get them all the time, they don't have any of that stuff in their possession. You want to see what the evidence is? You have to go to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and you have to view it there. Who wants to? Nobody does. So we're going to watch this here in a second, but the lawyer said he's had more than 3,000 individuals come forward to his office with accusations against Combs, and that he plans to begin filing lawsuits in various states within the next 30 days. Here's the problem with that. Everybody's coming out of the fucking woodwork. You know, oh, yeah. Oh, did you hear Diddy? Oh, yeah. I was at a Diddy party because there's no Diddy party, no party like a Diddy party, right?
Which I did create a little graphic here that you'll see on the screen. Let me know if you guys want to see that on any sort of merch or stickers or anything. But
you know, when you hear all this, and sometimes you retrofit things into things. So let's look back to when Justin Bieber was just a little kid.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Maybe not.
He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first.
I thought that was weird when Michael Jackson did that. Don't we think it's weird when the Diddler does that?
I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So
who would be comfortable with that? Especially knowing what we know now. Nobody would be.
And we gonna go buck full crazy.
We're going crazy.
We're gonna go buck full crazy
with a 15-year-old.
Okay, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. And let's just watch one more. Michael thinks this is a good idea.
Don't get trouble, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to.
Didn't have to do what? I mean, this is Kevin Hart, and this puts things into context.
First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed.
Look how uncomfortable Kevin Hart is.
If we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my
he doesn't even want the bed in the shot.
shot to even like I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented.
Back in the day when he was like 10, and then he catches himself and he goes, wait, pause. Like he Freudian slip. Like
I know. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
He had legal guardianship over him.
Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
what the fuck did Puff just say?
Wrestle over frosted flakes with a 10-year-old and baby oil.
Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
That was stupid. I mean, I honestly can't believe that you got a guy who's a billionaire. But that just goes to show you, when you're powerful and rich, you just want to do what you want to do. All right, now let's take a look at this press conference. It's about 3 minutes long.
The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world.
This Busby dude, he has some chops, I guess. He's handled, the oil spill in the Gulf. He's handled
Travis Scott
Astroworld. He's got a few very high profile cases. But let's listen to what he has to say.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point More than 3,285 individuals contact us.
Okay. Here's the problem with that. You got to sift through all the bullshit. Because I guarantee you, some of these people are full of shit that they don't have any way to back up what they're saying.
With people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals.
What does that say if you got 3,200 and you've been able to only confirm 120?
Who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
So one of the things that you have is you've got a situation where Combs is the bad actor, right? He's directing everything. But then you have maybe a record label that, was in the know and could have stopped something, maybe, or was funding some of this, maybe. Or you've got all the employees that, that he had facilitating these freak-offs and whatever they were doing. And anybody in that chain. But here's the thing. The Diddler is the only guy with the money.
And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI.
So here's the other thing. So just because he's charged with what he's charged with now doesn't mean that that can't change. There's a thing called a superseding indictment. So, but you can rest assured that if the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office are able to confirm more victims in Puffy's wake, that they'll add that to the indictment. And I have no doubt that you're going to see a superseding indictment coming down the pike.
Now, before we discuss the nature of the claims and claimants themselves, let me comment on the large volume of calls we have received since our first announcement. Even before the indictment of Sean Combs, we had received a small volume of calls and had screened a handful of cases. After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened. People who wouldn't otherwise, for a variety of reasons, are now stepping forward to make their voices heard.
Here's one of the problems that they're going to have. He's facing a federal indictment, right? And a very serious one at that. He's going to probably have his lawyers file a motion to stay the civil proceedings pending the criminal case. I guarantee you that's going to happen.
And to pursue justice. But no, most of these people are scared. They fear backlash in their communities. They fear backlash in their own families. They are afraid of retaliation from the perpetrators and their associates. They are rightly afraid for their own personal safety. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You would be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics.
We see that with Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers. We see that with Donald Trump supporters. We see that with, anybody who has a celebrity status. There's a sect of people who are just so loyal. Oh, this must be a conspiracy against them. It must be the Matrix. It must be the deep state. It must be blah, blah, blah.
I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted.
Well, then why don't you do it a little quieter? I mean, you're out there, right? I mean, you got your 800 number plastered.
I want to say this, and I want to be clear about it. Although we are vetting each call as stringently as we can, I always start with a mindset that I believe victims. I believe victims because I understand the tremendous courage it takes to step forward. So if you're watching this, please hear me.
This is an ad. This really is an ad.
If you're out there and you have been victimized, you are not alone.
So one of the things, a lot of states have these, passed these laws that despite the fact that the statute of limitations has passed, that within a certain period of time, upon discovering X, Y, or Z, and each state has different requirements for this, but you can still file a lawsuit even though it might be 20 years ago. So the difficulty I have with this is just that everybody's going to come out of the woodwork. Do you really think he's got over 3,000 victims? I mean, maybe he was that prolific. I mean, he's got 1,000 bottles of, that's half a bottle for each person, right? Or no, a quarter bottle, a third of a bottle but it doesn't matter. You've got 3,200 people claiming to be victims. I'm sure there's some of them are real, some of them aren't. I just can't imagine you'd have 3,000 victims. Although if you're into this stuff, these kinds of crimes are crimes of compulsion. And you get into a habit, you get into a routine, and you do shit over and over and over again. And then, and what I've seen, over the years in criminal law, when people dip their toe in the water of depravity, what happens is that's no longer a turn on. I gotta ratchet it up a little bit more. Remember when Andrew Tate said as much? He said, I no longer want to have sex. I gotta dominate. I have to do this. I have to do that. And so your depravity gets more and more and more, and you have to do more and more and more to get off.
I'm going to send something to you, and I want you to play this, and there's some very pertinent parts about this.
Know that, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and
poor kid.
Yeah. So yeah, I just
you believe him? I believe him.
I just want to protect her. I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Go through anything that I went through.
Yeah, if she ever needs me,
can't even look at the camera.
I'm just a call away.
Okay.
So that's a little snippet of what Justin Bieber went through. The problem that I have with it is pretty vague, right? I mean, certainly wouldn't be admissible in court. But if you put two and two together, that he was with Diddy and whatever, was he sexually abused by Diddy? I think that's what the implication of this podcast is. He certainly is a broken individual. And you have Diddy, and then there's that other video.
Yeah. I was gonna say when you link all of those three together, so you have that initial encounter, right? The custody one.
Yeah, play the other one.
The one after where the phone call one.
So let's just take a look at one more. We're looking at three of these, and everybody's kind of doing this, but it just does put it in context. Now look at how skittish he is with Diddy here in this next video.
Everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my...
See, that's starting to act different, huh? I mean, if you look at Diddy there, and he's like miffed that he's not getting what he is owed.
Partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so...
Right, okay.
My number?
Yeah.
You could make whatever you wanted to out of this video, but if you look at the body language, how uncomfortable he is, and he's fidgeting. Could he just be a nervous teen, or could it really be, you know, there's something bad happened in his past, and you know, he really didn't want it, and he's being confronted by Diddy, and he's afraid of him. I don't know if that's the case or not. I wouldn't put it past him if that was the case. So when you have somebody that's as prolific, and there's no question that Diddy had parties and he was prolific, and he had, I mean, fuck, he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. How do you need 1,000 bottles? Because you went to Costco and you got a fucking deal on bulk baby oil? I mean, does that make any sense? It doesn't make sense at all. What does make sense is that he's doing this shit every day. And he's got his routine of whatever it is that he's doing.
Miami a night of party, and I don't really remember what I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Would you like a reminder?
Yeah, sure.
Play some.
Hey, yo, listen, yo, I love it all. I love it all, man.
He loves it all.
Apparently.
Apparently.
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
it's right
scrambling
here,
and scraping for shit.
No. That was you.
Scrambling.
What? Scrambling and scraping for shit? In other words, I like to see you on your all fours. I like to see you in a position of submissive, me in control. What?
Daddy. He kept saying daddy.
Daddy.
He's talking to another person. He said, Daddy, I like when you're scrambling and scraping for shit, Daddy.
Ugh.
Yep, you're
Scrambling and scraping for shit, Daddy. Daddy.
You said, I like when you do it like that, Daddy, when you scrambling and scraping for shit.
Now, he's probably shitting his pants here because he's called out. Because he doesn't want anybody to know that he is into whatever he's into.
But what did he say right before that? I love it. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Now, look how quiet he got all of a sudden. He just got super fucking quiet. Daddy, I like it when you're scrambling and scraping for shit, Daddy. Oh, that's just so fucking creepy. See how quiet he got all of a sudden? He just got called out. That's what happens when you get called out. So
But he loves it all.
And here's the thing. He liked his recordings. You know, just like a serial killer likes a trophy from their kill, these guys who do this shit like to have something to remember the experience because it was so fucking great. And jerking off to it, you can get just as much of a thrill when you're by yourself with your 1,000 bottles of baby oil. He's off to the races, you know, and you're going to watch. There's going to be a superseding indictment with more allegations, but you're not going to see that from the U.S. Attorney's Office until they can verify every last little bit of it. They need testimony. They need text messages. They need video footage if you've got it. They need a way to show that you're not just some hanger-on who's trying to score a quick payday, which is what he said Cassie was doing, Cassie Ventura. But we all know that he dragged her down the hallway and probably did all kinds of other shit to her. You know, the biggest problem I think he has is that people are going to come and testify that they were held against their will for days on end until their bruises cleared up, until their face is cleared up, until whatever. I mean, and to have somebody subjected to this shit over and over and over again to the point where they need to be rehydrated with intravenous fluids. And you know, if any of you guys comment that that's normal, don't come to my house. That's all I'm saying.
And isn't that coercive in general of like holding something over someone's career?
Yeah, well, if you're holding your career over your head, that's coercion.
Yeah.
If you're physically prohibiting somebody from leaving, that's force. You know, force, fraud, or coercion. So we'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, along with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. And where do they get the merch?
Go to CLRBruceRivers.com for the hat, hoodies, and sweat and shirts and prints. So
we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Shout out Tony and Nick. We'll see you next time.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That's